Well, that was the thing that was going around on Facebook and Instagram, and it was really cool to see the Pikes Peak race. Um, and I wanted to ask you about and that there was a record set, by a diesel powered vehicle. You guys played a big role in the fuel side, and for anyone out there that didn't catch it, if you could tell us a little bit about the race vehicle, the guys who were racing it, and then what you guys put together for them that helped do that.
So the guy, it's Chuckles Garage out of Santa Rosa, California. His name's Scott Birdsall. The truck is called Old Smoky F1. Fast Motorsports, they sponsor it, and we sponsor it, of course. I've been with him for 5 years-ish. ATS down there in Colorado sponsors transmissions. That truck, it does a lot. Like, they do like Laguna Seca type races. On the track, it'll compete with McLarens and Ferraris and high-end, ultra performance cars. And yeah, it's a Cummins 6-cylinder diesel. The motor that was in it for Pikes Peak was actually one of Freedom Racing's engines. I had just bought the thing, and it was at my shop. Unfortunately, the motor that was in it was a fast motor. And when they were heading up the hill, something happened, and they had a transmission slip where Scotty was like foot to the carpet, and there wasn't a hard limiter set in the ECM. So it spun to like 7,000 RPM or what have you, and ended up hurting itself. So ended up putting Matt in the truck here in town, because the only thing we had for a motor as an option was that brand new fleece motor that just showed up the day before. So we threw the crate in the back of Matt's truck. Matt drove down there, and Matt jumped in, got elbow neck deep, and helped them swap the motor out and get the thing back on the track. And then they went to ATS. ATS went through the trannies again. They pack spare trannies, obviously, because that thing gets killed,
Yeah.
And it's not just a quarter-mile pass. It's not just a half-mile pass. It's in and out of every turn. And, it's getting laid to it for what is it, 11, 12, 13 minutes. And really, Scott's down there for just about a month because they got to show up and they got to do tire testing, and they got practices, and, they're trying to get familiar with the course. So they spend several days up there testing. So he rents a cabin, he rents a shop up there, and they're there for just about a month by the time it's all said and done. But so the parts get beat, but the new motor swapped in there. It was just one of Freedom's, kind of like their stage 2. It was going in my street truck actually, and it lived. It did what it was supposed to do and performed well, and I'm really excited. I think the truck did exactly what it needed to do. Plus, it's a 14-hole injection nozzle, which is not anything normal in this industry. We tried it early this spring, and I sent him to Scott. He had one of my 5.9s back then, and ultimately the engine that was in the truck, he was out making some hot laps with it, hurt the motor, no big deal. And he was like, man, this thing, the throttle response is insane. These chargers light really good. He was super excited. And that's always the biggest struggle, is when you get to 9,500 feet, they run horrible. And then you climb to 14,000 feet, and they run even worse. So my brain said, let's add a bunch of really, really fine, small holes that atomize very, very well, try and increase the combustion efficiency. So when he gets to elevation, it's not just a hot, smoky, clunker, because he's got to go into the turns. He's got to come out of the turns. Throttle response is key. But yeah, if you get a chance to watch the YouTube video, it's posted. There's like basically a 12-minute video. Starts with Scott, and he's just about shaking in his boots, just talking about how excited he is. And then it goes into an in-dash camera live view, and the smokestack is just above the passenger side, like the glove box area. And you can watch that truck for like 11 and a half minutes, and there's barely a whisper of smoke every now and then, but it's basically clean. You can see the data logger on the dashboard, and it's showing you what the EGT is. It's always in check. The thing, it ended up getting hot water coolant temp on the way up the hill, so it went into limp mode, and it derates at that point, so he lost a bunch of power. But, fortunately, he was deep enough in the race that he was already on pace to make a very good pass. And even with limp mode happening at the top of the hill, he still was able to set a new record for a diesel-powered truck going up the hill. That was pretty awesome.